Let me find the clicker first. It's not here. So before I come up to the stage, I decided to take a selfie first. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. I decided to take selfie because I have two news. A good one and a bad one. The bad one is first. I have attended a lot of conferences for the last few years. Usually the room is packed, and sometimes there are people standing at the back. Today looks like probably 1/3 or maybe half of the seats are empty, so that's a bad news. But here comes the good news. According to the attendance rate, we are pretty much at the bottom of the market. So be optimistic. My speech will be 3 parts. First, I will briefly introduce what myself and my team did in the last few years. And then I will explain why I'm so confident in the blockchain industry. And that's maybe also the reasons why everyone is also here. And then the last part will be the challenges that we are facing. I came across Bitcoin pretty early in 2011, and then I decided to do my own project. It is called NEO in 2014. NEO is an open network or public blockchain for smart economy. I will explain what is my understanding of smart economy and what is it later. And then after 2 years doing public blockchains, there are many enterprises in China came to us and asked us to do a private or consulting blockchain for them. At first, we just did it with the new team, and then after 1 or 2 cases, we realized it's a standalone business. So we decided to set up a new company. It's called On-Chain. On-Chain is a blockchain solution, provides blockchain solution to business and sometimes to local governments in China. After we did a lot of consulting on private blockchains, they usually ended at proof of concept stage, or sometimes a pilot stage. They never went to production. So we decided to find out what's the reason behind it. After a few months thought, we realized it is because there is no real connection between the blockchain world and the real economy. We need something to link the two worlds together. That something, we think, is digital identity. So we decided to start a new project that would be focused on how to provide a digital identity on-chain. And this project is called Ontology. NEO and Ontology are doing pretty well on the market. The market cap of NEO is a little shy of $500 million US, and Ontology is a little less than $200 million. That's a big number. But a few months ago, I'm not using million, I'm using billion to count the market cap. So when I talk to traditional mainstream entrepreneurs, they always give me that face. They think it's a bubble. I used a question mark here, but today I can confidently say it's not a question, it's a fact. We've seen the market crash pretty much, like the previous speaker said, 85%. So this is the market cap comparison between the top 4 tech giants and all the value of tokens from public blockchains. We can see that Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and Apple, they are all pretty much at the same level. They are around $700 billion US. But public blockchain market cap is relatively still very small. It's only 1/4 of all these tech giants. But I do think public blockchain has a much greater potential than those Nasdaq companies. We can also see from this chart, this is the total market cap of all the public blockchain tokens. In a linear scale, looks like we are in a very bearish market. But if we look at a log scale, which shows more the trend, we can see that we are in a pretty steady upward trend. So why does I still believe in blockchain? I think at the end of the day, we need to understand whether blockchain provides real value to the society. If we look at a very easy example, gambling, does it really provide value to the gambling industry? My answer is definitely yes. It will make gambling more transparent, make it more fair and more efficient. That's an example of gambling. Is blockchain also valuable to the gaming industry? My answer is yes. It will make the game, the asset in the game, more liquid. Is it good for the capital market? My answer is also yes. You will see the capital market in the exchange in the crypto world is much more liquid, lower friction than the traditional market, and the cut for those players are much lower. This is my first part, and my second part will be explaining my understanding of blockchain and why it has value. I will skip how does it work. This is more a technical way to explain what is a blockchain. And this is a more logical way how to explain it. How blockchain or distributed ledger change the market structure from everybody trusting a third party, and then he maintains a centralized ledger, to a blockchain world where everybody maintains their own distributed ledger, which is physically distributed but logically consistent. So blockchain is a software, but it's not a simple software. It's also a platform that you can build your own application on top of the platform. And it's also it's not a proprietary platform. It's an open network. You can build your own applications according to the protocol, and every application can talk to each other. And then it's designed to transfer value because it provides trust, it delivers trust. So value can be easily transferred at the internet speed. But more than that, there are tokens behind public blockchains. And there are economic models built in blockchains. So it's also a new institutional tool, a new institutional paradigm. There are two ways to achieve economical growth. The first one is to have fundamental technological improvement. The invention of wheel is a technological improvement. So we can transfer people from one place to another, or goods from one place to another. And the invention of the internet is also a technological improvement. So does blockchain. It's a technical improvement. That's very easy to understand. But there are a second way. The second way is to improve resource allocation, to put the money, the resource, into the people that will be using it in a better way. And there are two ways to do resource allocation. One is through the market, the free market, and the invisible hand. The other way is by the visible hand, the government, by taxation, by social welfare. And blockchain is, first, it's a technological improvement. Second, it will form a bigger free market, and also it will make the government smaller and more efficient. So blockchain technology will fundamentally achieve an economical growth. This is why a free market is also a good thing. After trade, everybody is better off. And this is why transaction cost is so important, and why blockchain can reduce transaction cost fundamentally. As the economist said, blockchain is a trust machine. It can deliver trust. It can lower the transaction cost. In human history, we have invented many technology to keep records. We used to use clay tablets, papyrus, and tally sticks. And then we invented double entry bookkeeping. And then we have computer, we have electronic spreadsheet. And now we have distributed ledger. With different ledger technology, we will have different level of collaboration or different kind of economic or social system. In the primitive economy, we use very primitive technology to keep records. So we are in a hunter-gatherer society, and the ownership is, there is no real private ownership in a primitive economy. And the collaboration only happens at a family, kinship, or tribe level. And then we moved to agricultural economy. In a feudalism society, we saw a very mixed ownership. The land is owned by the king, and some of the property are privately owned. And then we have a bigger collaboration because we have better technology to keep things, to record things. The collaboration are happening at township level. And then we moved to industrial economy. We saw capitalism, and collaboration has happened at larger scale, at national scale, because we have electronic spreadsheets, we have double entry bookkeeping, and we saw a full private ownership now. But what's next? I think smart economy is the next. The difference of smart economy and today's industrial economy is that in the smart economy, everything will have its digital representative form. We will have tokens represent money, asset, securities, title, or even maybe your reputation, your personal data, or sometimes an IoT device. So everything will be digital. And because everything is digital, we can use computer language to manage, to manipulate almost everything. But it will also be very dangerous if everything is digital and everything can be controlled by computer language. So it has to be decentralized. We cannot use one centralized entity to manage everything in this world. So it has to be decentralized, and it has to be trust-free. And because we have this new technology, new distributed ledger with smart economy, we can have a completely different kind of ownership. Today's ownership is very simple. You either own it or either you don't. But in the smart economy, you will find that ownership has a finer granularity. You can define what kind of ownership you have. You can have partial ownership, like the previous speaker said. You can have a partial ownership of a house, of a property. You can have the artist that created certain art can have some logic, some behind the art, the product. He can share 1% every time the art is traded. He can always preserve 5% of the ownership. So we will see a very different ownership. And the very different ownership will define a new kind of society. It's not capitalism, it's not socialism. I don't know what's the word, but I will use smart economy to describe the future world. And at that stage, everything will happen at a global level. So we'll see a lot of collaborations. But blockchain is not the only technology behind to drive the smart economy. We will use AI, we will use Internet of Things, and also cloud computing, VR, AR, big data, a lot of technologies. So this is why I'm still so confident in blockchain today. And my last part will be talk a little about the challenges that public blockchains are facing. Mostly there are two challenges. One is the technical constraint. Today's blockchain is very slow, very little privacy, and the latency is very high, and it's not really secured. For scalability, there are many solutions. We can use sharding, we can use layer 2 solutions, and I'm very confident that in a few years, maybe 1 or 2, we will see a lot of the layer 2 solutions, and that will boost the transaction per second dramatically. And for privacy, you can use layer 2. It's also protect your privacy, and also you can use a lot of new cryptography schemes to protect your privacy. And then we can use formal verification to prove that a smart contract is secured. And then there is another problem is compliance. But luckily we saw there are two groups of people in this industry. One of the group is the tech guys. They're coding, they're building the protocol, they're building the products. There are another group of people there have a financial background, or maybe have a legal background. So they're doing a lot of lobbying. They're trying to build the framework to make the industry compatible with traditional or mainstream regulatory frameworks. So I'm pretty sure that in a few years, I don't know how many years, it could be 2, it could be 5, we will resolve all those problems and we will have a very bright future. Before I finish my speech, I'd like to show you a picture. This is about 6 or 8 years ago when the tallest building in Shanghai is still a hole, a big hole. If you are not digging the hole, if you're looking far away, you will see nothing. The land is flat. You will say, there's no real adoption. Nothing's happening. And blockchain is only fact, a hype. But if you are in the industry, if you are working diligently, you will know that in the future, the deeper the hole you're digging, the higher the building will be. So today, it looks like this. We will see that in the future. Thank you.